Welcome. This is sixth lecture on kinetic theory of gases. In this video, I am going to discuss about mean free path and we will see the concept of collision probability. Mean free path. To understand this concept, we must visualize that what is happening inside a gas. According to kinetic theory, gas consists of large number of molecules that are traveling in all possible directions with all possible velocities, right? And during their motion, they are colliding with each other. This is just a simplest cartoon to visualize that concept. Here, this red molecule is traveling and during its motion, it is colliding with other molecules. And we can easily see that between two successive collisions, it is covering a path. This path is nothing but free path. So how we can define a free path? Free path is path traversed by a molecule between two successive collisions. However, if you look this cartoon carefully, then you will find out that path covered by the molecule during two successive collisions are different, right? Therefore, we can define a mean quantity, which we call mean free path. Okay. So, mean free path is average distance traversed by a molecule between two successive collisions. Okay. Now, we will going to find out the mathematical expression for mean free path. But before doing that, we must understand what is collision probability. To understand this concept, let's consider a system has n0 number of molecules at particular instant. And these molecules collide with each other as they proceeded in their path. This we all know from the kinetic theory of gases. Now assume that after traveling a distance x, n number of molecules are still collisionless. Okay. Now further assume that dn is the number of molecule further collided with other molecule in a distance dx. What it mean? It means the free path of dn molecule will be x and x plus dx because it travels a distance x but it collided in between x and x plus dx, right? So their free path lying between x and x plus dx. Now it is very intuitive that this dn will be proportional to n because larger the number we will have, larger will be the colliding molecules. So dn will be proportional to n. Further, this dn must be proportional to dx because larger the distance it will cover, more is the probability for the collision. So dn will be proportional to dx. So if we combine all these, we will get dn is equals to minus pc n dx. Here, Pc is the proportionality constant and I have taken a minus sign. Why minus sign? Because after the collision, this Dn molecule reduces the number of collisionless molecule. Now, just rewrite this equation as this Dn upon n is equals to minus Pc dx. Look at this expression carefully. If you substitute dx equals to 1, then Pc will be Dn upon n if you just neglect the negative sign. And what is that? That is the probability. How we can define a probability? Probability is number of outcome divided by total number of possible outcome. Here dn is the number of molecule collided and n is the total number of molecule. Therefore this Pc is called probability of collision. Now we will try to find out the expression for this Pc. Just solve this equation, integrate it with proper limit. We know the limit when x was 0, n was n0. And when x was x, n was n. So just substitute this limit, solve it, you will get n equals to n naught e to the power minus pcx. And this relation is called survival equation. Why? Because this equation gives us the number of surviving molecule. Okay. After traveling a distance x, n number of molecule is still collisionless. That's why this equation is called survival equation. We know dn. We know n, just substitute the n in the expression for dn. So dn will look like this. Here I have already discussed that dn is the number of molecule with free path between x and x plus dx. So as we know that number of molecule with free path between x and x plus dx, then we can easily define the mean free path. Mean free path will be given by this relation. What is this relation? This relation says that dn1 number of molecule having free path x1, dn2 number of molecule having free path x2, dn3 number of molecule having free path x3 plus dot dot dot. So if you divide total path covered divided by total number of molecule dn1 plus dn2 plus dn3 plus dot dot dot. As the number of molecules are very large, we can just simply replace the summation by integration. Just integrate it x dn upon integration of dn. Why I am taking mod? Because we are interested in the number. Number cannot be negative quantity. That's why we are taking mod. Just substitute the dn here, and we know the integration of dn will be total number of molecule, and we started with the number of molecule n naught. Therefore the integration of dn will be 1 upon n naught, and this limit will be from 0 to infinity because free path can range from 0 to infinity. So 0 to infinity pc n naught e to the power minus pcx x dx. Okay, so we can rewrite this equation like this, and if you use the gamma function, you will be able to solve this integration, and this will give us pc into 1 upon pc square gamma 2, and gamma 2 is 1. Therefore the mean free path will be equals to 1 upon pc. That is, mean free path is equals to 1 upon collision probability. Larger the collision probability, lesser will be the mean free path, or vice versa. Now using this expression, we can just relate the mean free path with the collision probability. Now we know all these three expressions, dn, n, pc. Just substitute the pc because mean free path is more physical. Just replace the pc in the expression for n and dn. If you substitute it, you will get the expression for n will be equals to n naught e to the power minus x upon lambda. And if you plot it, it will look like this. This is an exponential fall. Similarly, you can substitute the pc in the expression for dn, and you can plot dn upon dx. It is also an exponential fall. Now we are in a place where we can find out the expression for mean free path. To estimate the mean free path, we will consider that at any instant of time, all molecules of a gas except one are at rest. This assumption is very crude, and it is very far from the realistic case. However, the expression or the measurement come from this assumption will very much reasonable. Okay, so we will proceed with it, and finally we will see the improved result also. Let's suppose that c bar is the average velocity of the molecule, obviously the moving molecule, and sigma is the diameter of all the molecules. In such situation, when the collision will happen, in that case the center to center distance between two molecules will be sigma, because sigma by 2 is the radius of one molecule, right? Now just consider an area which is marked by this dotted line, a bigger circle. This area is nothing but collision cross section. Why? Because any molecule whose center lying outside this circle will not collide with this molecule. Only those molecules will collide whose center lying on this line. Okay? Now, as this molecule is moving, in time t it will cover a distance of c bar t, and this will be in zigzag manner. While moving, it will swipe out a cylindrical volume. How we can understand it? Let's suppose that this collision cross section is freezed with this molecule. In that situation, when this molecule will move, this area will also move. Now see this animation. This is the collision cross section, and once the molecule will move, it will also move. And while motion, it will cover a cylindrical volume. And that's what we are talking about. What is the significance of this cylindrical volume? The moving molecule collide with all the molecule having their center within this volume. This concept we have already understood from this diagram, because any molecule whose center lying outside this dotted line cannot collide with this molecule. As this cross-sectional area is sweeping out this cylindrical volume, that means the moving molecule will collide with all the molecule having their center within this volume. Okay. Now what is the volume of the cylinder? Rho c bar t, because the length of cylinder is c bar t and the area is rho. Therefore the number of molecule within that volume will be equals to n rho c bar t. Here n is the molecular density, right? Now as the molecule collided with all the molecule within that volume, therefore the number of collision in time t will be n rho c bar t. and the collision frequency will be means collision per unit time n rho c bar. Now we can easily define a mean free path. Mean free path is distance covered in time t upon number of collision in time t. Distance covered in time t we know c bar t, and number of collision in time t we know n rho c bar t. Just substitute it here and simplify it. It will be lambda equals to 1 upon rho n, and rho we know pi sigma square. So lambda is equals to 1 upon pi sigma square n. If we know the diameter of the molecule sigma, molecular density, then we can easily calculate the mean free path. This is the expression for mean free path. As I said that during the estimation of mean free path, we have assumed that all molecules are at rest except one. But this assumption was very far from the realistic case. Clausius gave a improved result. He assumed that all molecules are in motion and he considered the relative velocity between the molecules. Because of this assumption, the mathematics become very complicated. However, he found this result, lambda is equals to 3 upon 4 pi sigma square n. However, his assumption also has some kind of drawback. Further improved result was given by Maxwell's, and his expression for the mean free path is lambda is equals to 1 upon root 2 pi sigma square n. If you look all these three expressions for mean free path carefully, then you will find out that order of magnitude of mean free path is same in all the expression. Only the difference is a very small factor. That's why I told you that even with the crude assumption like all molecules are at rest except one, we got the reasonable result. Okay. Hope all this explanation makes sense to you. See you in next lecture. Thank you.